We did. Yeah, you're welcome, Chad. That was for you.
I'd like to welcome everyone this evening to the 4 o'clock meeting for the Washington County Board of Commissioners. Today is January the 16th, 2024. We appreciate those who've been here for the public comment period, and now would like to begin our regular meeting. We have someone that have joined us on Zoom, but we begin with an invocation by Tim Martin of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and a member of the Interfaith Council, but also on the chief board, right? You're the chief board. I mean, that meets before the Interfaith Council is a lot, but you also have a board, right? Like you were president. Yes.
Secretary.
Okay.
Yeah, when we started it 14 years ago, we elected the president and vice president. I said, I'll be secretary, and I still am.
Okay.
Because I know that, as Nicole, he who controls the agenda controls the world. So, and speaking of agendas, on February 17th, all of February is United Nations Harmony, Interfaith Harmony Month. And we celebrate that here in St. George this year on Saturday, February 17th at Crimson Cliffs High School. We'll have 8 musical groups. But the coolest part is as you come into Crimson Cliffs High School, there'll be 15 placards of 15 different religions. Next to each placard is somebody ready to answer questions. So if you want to know about the Buddhist community in St. George and the Baha'i community and the Methodist and the Greek Orthodox, the Presbyterians, there'll be somebody in that big open area,
Very nice.
both before and after. And then after, you can have refreshments while you go and talk to those people. So just a chance, you see it because you have prayers by all these people.
Right.
We have 39 different people offering prayers, and it's just, it's a cool thing. So thank you for that openness. Thank you for the opportunity to give prayers, and please join us on February 17th at Crimson Cliffs High School.
All day long?
No, it starts at 7. It's a 1-hour program. We know
okay.
you can't keep anybody in this town more than an hour, so we know those rules.
Very nice.
Please join me in prayer. Our Father in heaven, we're so thankful for the system that we have in this nation, in this county, that allows us to talk to our representatives. We're thankful for the openness of the county commissioners and pray that this dialogue will help all of us to better understand the things that need to be done to keep our wonderful land, our wonderful county running the way it should. We're thankful for the dedication of those who serve our county. We're thankful for those who are willing to work so hard to find out the issues and to make sure that we have adequate water and resources and services to make our lives well. We pray a blessing upon all those who might participate in this meeting this day, that they might remember the things they wanted to say, that they might feel their thoughts are being heard, that they might be able to accomplish those things that they came to do. We ask a blessing upon all of us in Washington County now, that we might be able to truly enjoy and appreciate the wonders that we have each day around us, and that we may always be thankful to Thee for the blessings that we receive. And these things we ask in the name of Thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you again, Tim. We next have a Pledge of Allegiance. Is Frank Luke here? We'd like to ask Leslie Fonger to give us the Pledge of Allegiance. Will you guide us? Come on up. Thank you, Leslie, a member of our tourism office and who is over trails and all sorts of things. So thank you for doing that. Our first item is the consent agenda, which is a means of expediting the consideration of routine matters. If a commissioner requests that items be removed from the consent agenda, those items are placed at the beginning of the regular agenda other than requests to remove items. A motion to approve the items on the consent agenda is not debatable.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt our consent agenda and the following items in it. A, consideration of auditor-approved claims for payment for January 3rd, 2024 through January 16th, 2024. B, consideration of commission meeting minutes of January 2nd, 2024. C, consideration of administrative adjustments, real property. D, consideration of administrative adjustments, personal property. And E, consideration of addendum to administrative service agreement. And that is my motion.
I'll second the motion.
Motion and a second, no division in that, so all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Our regular items are 1, emergency services report from the Washington County Sheriff's Office. Sergeant Cashin.
Afternoon, Commissioners.
Hi.
What I have is, I have our end of year from last year, and then just a little bit into this year, just by the way you have your meetings. So, on this report, I have 5 total search and rescues, 3 of which occurred last year, 2 this year. And probably the best way to do this is just go through the end of year for 2023, which we had a total of 140 rescues last year. The last one actually came on the 31st at 8:30 at night, so it was just right on time. We had 4,384 man-hours on incidents and another 3,882 man-hours on training, which gave us 8,266 man-hours for search and rescue personnel. We rescued 192 people last year in those 140 rescues. I do have them broken down on here. I'm probably not going to go through each one, but in county, out of state, and international.
Okay.
The rescues that we had last year, we had some lost stranded bikers in the Tokerville area, father and 2 sons. Got lost, got dark, they were in the creek, got wet, and they finally decided to stop, build a fire, and call for help. We found them pretty quick and got them out of there. On the 29th, we had an injured mountain biker on Little Creek Mesa. That gentleman was way out on the ledge, and we ended up calling Life Flight as search and rescue was going in due to the potential injuries he had. They got to him first, they took him and flew him to DRMC for treatment, so we canceled the rest of the SAR guys out of that. On the 31st, we had some more lost bikers on Laverkin Twist Trail. They were probably just under a mile from the trailhead, but got completely turned around. They were not from here. So we had them just stay put, sent SAR in, they found them, brought them out, they didn't need any EMS. And then our first one this year was on the 3rd, which was a lost hiker in the Vortex Trail. Just as the SAR guys were arriving at the trailhead, she found her way out. So that was really easy. And on the 12th, we had a Jeep rollover on Sand Mountain. That was way on the back, and we sent in SAR, and they actually did call Life Flight on that one also due to potential neck and back injuries, so they actually grabbed him and took him. So that's kind of where we're at.
Sergeant, how many did you say, 140? How many people were rescued? 196?
192.
192. Do you have any ballpark, we're not going to hold you to the math, of how many of those people would not be alive today if SAR had not gotten to them?
A good portion of them, either due to heat exhaustion, hypothermia, injuries. I would probably have to say, I mean, to be realistic, probably a good 20% of them would probably not be alive.
140 or 40 people. That's a
Yes.
That's a lot out of just this county. So I hope that we went to the SAR end of the year event, and I hope your men and women feel our appreciation, especially those 40 people that owe their life literally to good volunteers and to all the employers and the families that let them go out. So thank you.
You betcha.
As always.
Yep.
You know, we've seen on the news, because the West finally has gotten all of its snowstorms, that there seems like there's an avalanche somewhere every day. And it's always amazing to hear those rescued within 5 minutes sometimes by other skiers that are just grabbing anything to poke in the snow and what have you. And for them to say, for 5 minutes, I thought I was gone, you know, and some passed out, because obviously if anyone's ever been trapped in snow, it's like you're packed into concrete. People think it's just snow, I can move around.
It doesn't.
You can't. And it's crazy to think that what you do, what onlookers do nearby, the saving of the dog in West Point yesterday that made national news, you know, our hat's off to you for sure for all that you do. And like Commissioner Snow said, please convey that.
I will.
Thank you.
You bet. Just one thing really quick. I can tell you that when you ask about numbers, assuming search and rescue wasn't there, that's where I'm pulling those numbers. If they weren't there, those people could not have gotten out on their own and
Yeah.
they would not be alive.
Yeah, and that's
So-
what I was asking.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you
Sergeant.
for your
Thank you.
report.
Appreciate you.
You bet.
Item number 2, consideration of purchase request. Ray Boyer. Thank you, Tim.
Okay. The first one I have here is for the Recorder's Office. This is to archive historical maps and preserve them. And this is for various map books and also including loose maps that we may have. This is a total of $78,653.40. The next one I have is for the Roads Department. This is a usual equipment fuel bill for the dyed diesel. This is for $31,772.80. The next one is for the Sheriff's Office. We had a little bit of a miscommunication on this. You previously approved a $40,000 improvement for the target range out at the jail. And little did anyone else know that that was just the portion that was going to be budgeted in 2023. This is the portion that's going to be budgeted in 2024, which is a total of $91,500. And so the total project is $131,500. We've spoke about it and everybody's on the same page to put the whole project amount regardless of the budget year. The next couple are for the tourism office. This first one is a blanket PO for 2024. This is a pay-per-click service for $60,000. The next one is also a blanket PO for 2024. This is an ad buy and media campaign and paid search for a total of $675,000. The next few are for the fair. This first one is for the 2024 fair books. This is for, we're getting 15,000 copies of a 48-page book for $12,260. The next one is for fair advertising in the Senior Savers Guide. This is for $12,500. And that covers anything that was December through April. The next one is also fair advertising in Buddy Mail. This covers St. George, Cedar City, Central Utah, and Mesquite, and anything advertised between December and March. And this, December through April. And this one's $17,714. And the next one is just various fair swag, prizes, and such. There's for the demo derby, the parade, general fair items, the beer garden, 4-H, ribbons, board appreciation funds, rodeo, advertising, and for the concert. This is for $20,332.60. And unless there's any questions.
Ray, can you make sure that item 9, the Flying Pig Stress Reliever keychain?
Oh,
I want to make sure I get one of those.
noted.
I can't wait to see these things. Susie is so good at coming up with fun things to give
I looked some of
out.
them online. They're pretty fun stuff.
Okay, those are your purchase requisitions.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the purchase requisitions as explained by and presented by Ray.
I'll second that motion, Mr.
Motion
Chairman.
and a second. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you. Our next item, consideration of ordinance number 2024-1240-0, an ordinance amending Titles 6 and 7 of the Washington County Code to address county roadways and rights-of-way, snow removal, and seasonal road closures. Todd.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. These are two parts of our county code that deal with public works, and this is a periodic look at those codes to make sure that they're matching up with our current practices that we do. And so they're for your consideration, we're hoping. First one is Title VI, Motor Vehicles and Traffic. Our major change in this one is on Kolob Terrace Road. As you're well aware, the roads get really soft up there in the spring when you get spring melt. There's a lot of springs alongside the road, and the soil conditions are such that the road gets soft. And so if you take heavy trucks or traffic up there during that time, it really destroys the roads quickly. We've had restrictions in the past, and this one we're just hoping to clarify more. What we've had in the past was just you couldn't take certain types of trucks up there. Now we're basing it on weight. We looked at some studies back in Wisconsin that looked at, they have seasonal closures in the spring, and they were able to show that over 90% of their damage could be eliminated if they took the legal weight of trucks down to 10,000 pounds per axle. The normal legal weight is 20,000 pounds. We've got some exceptionals, and they had some exceptional areas too. We feel like we wanted to take ours down to 8,000 pounds, which is 4 tons per axle load up there during that spring thaw time. So we've made that change. We've also looked at some seasonal closures on different roads. That's one of them. It closes down during certain times of the year. It's actually our friends with the National Park Service that close the road down up in that area when the snow just gets too deep. So we wanted to codify that a little bit better too. So we've changed it to...
Todd, on when we open it up, I know that obviously the weather has a lot to do with it, the year. I mean, last year was crazy how long it stayed wet. Do we just kind of assess it? Do we have certain dates? I know the Park Service has certain dates, they just close it.
Right.
And then the second question is compliance been reasonable? I mean,
What's that?
like, do most people comply and
Oh, yeah.
try to follow along?
Most people, yeah. We've had a permit system, and people have been able to apply for permits for exceptions. You know, if they got to get up there and pick up some garbage or something, we've had exceptions, propane trucks and things like that sometimes. So for the most part, most people have been pretty good. We just don't have the funding to go up there every other year and rebuild that portion of the road that's up on top where it's soft. So that's what we're hoping to have people mostly understand why and work around the schedule so that they can take the heavier weights up, you know, during when it's completely thawed out and drained and the surfaces are hard again. Or if it's frozen over, that actually works too. So
What?
if it's frozen over, it actually works too. So they can take
Yeah.
it up now if it's frozen, and
Yeah.
it's okay if they can get up there with the snow. So it's a balancing act between the two. And so I don't know if you want me to go into any more detail on that. We did have one area that we completely eliminated, and that was some roads that were for livestock travel, and we allow livestock on any of our roads actually through permits. So we want to take that out. It hadn't been used in the 25 years that we've been around, and so we didn't feel like we needed that one anymore. There was a few minor updates for state code on RV uses and allowing RV use within our roads. So we made those clarifications and updates to state code. Also a few clarifications on RS 2477 roads that we allow RVs to go on those roads also. Title VII, Public Ways and Property. Again, it was just putting into code our current practices for the most part and incorporating state laws. Talking about vacating roads, RS 2477 roads, that it doesn't vacate the states and allows us to shut down those roads for a time without giving up our rights to them. Talked about granting franchises over our roads, which we've done for years, and gives a little more clarification on when and why that is done. One important thing was snow and ice removal. We didn't really have anything in our code that gave direction to our residents on snow removal, that they can't just push their snow from their driveway out into our roads, because then it gets driven over, turned to ice, and we can't remove it at that point. So this clarifies that they need to keep their own snow on their own property, and also the right-of-ways, that they keep them clear of encroachments. And if they do have encroachments into the right-of-way, it's their expense if they get damaged or.
Does it speak at all to when the county will remove snow?
Yeah, we've actually come up with an aid to go on our website that shows the areas that we do provide snow removal in green, and the roads that we do not provide snow removal in red. It does clarify that certain roads are higher priority, the major roads, and of course, roads for like school children to get to bus stops and things like that. So it does clarify what roads we do snowplow, and gives a little more clarification on when we snowplow roads, and that we can't get to all roads on a major snowstorm overnight.
Because we have had
roads
some
are gonna take-
residents have moved into roads that are quite remote, and then they're like, when are you gonna plow my road? And it's like, well, we've never plowed your road.
Exactly, and it clarifies that we can close roads down in the wintertime, just because they're not inaccessible.
Yeah.
They turn to either drifts of snow that you can't get through, or mud bogs that you can't drive through either. So clarifies that some roads are closed.
Yeah, very good.
We bought a lot in another county, but a county road in the mountains. It was platted in 1967, and I asked, how many times have you plowed that road, to the county public works director, and he says, never. So, and I attest to that, they never have, even since we've owned it. So, yes, well, thank you, Todd. Any questions?
No, I just appreciate it, Todd.
Yeah, thank you, Todd. Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve ordinance number 2024-1240-0, and ordinance amending Title 6 and 7 of the Washington County Code to address county roads and rights-of-way, snow removal, and seasonal road closures.
And I'll second that motion, Mr.
Motion and
Chairman.
a second, thank you. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
No opposed. Item number 4, consideration of resolution number R 2024-3233, a resolution renewing the Washington County Endangered Species Impact Fee for 2024. Before you start, Cameron, Nicole would like to have a minute.
Commissioners, this resolution number was modified since this was posted, and the number that it was modified to is resolution number R 2024-3246. And Chair, if you could please allow this to reflect on the record.
Of course. Item 4 is now resolution number R 2024-3246.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so this resolution is a revisitation of the impact fees that are used to fund our habitat conservation plan. Our plan was renewed in 2020, and at that time, we were actually able to adjust our rate downward. Since then, it's going to require, according to state code, an annual review of the impact fee to fund the HCP. It's currently sitting at 0.2% of the estimated construction costs for new construction in the county. And we still feel like that's the right level. It's currently funding our HCP adequately. We don't need more, we don't need less at this time. So the state code requires that we have a sunset date established, which we want to do is each January, this being the first time. And then every January, just revisit that impact fee. So that's where we're at with that.
Is that only for this fee, or this is only,
Just for the endangered species impact fee, which supports our HCP.
okay. So they didn't do all impact fees get reviewed at a sunset date?
Just the sunset we're dealing with today, it has only to do with the environmental.
Okay, very good.
Yep.
Well, the status quo prevails. So, thank you, Cameron. Mr. Chairman, with your permission, I would like to make I'd like to make a motion that we adopt Resolution R-2024-3246, a resolution renewing the Washington County Endangered Species Impact Fee for 2024.
I'll second the motion.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item number 5, thank you. Cameron, you're still there because this is yours too. Consideration of resolution number R 2024-3234, a resolution appointing a new member and reappointing a member to the Washington County Habitat Conservation Advisory Committee.
Yes, so Greg MacArthur was previously serving on our advisory committee. He is no longer as a city council member with St. George City, and they have requested that we nominate Steve Kemp to replace them, representing the city. And then it's also a reappointment of Carmen Clark, representing the Shibwitz Band of Paiutes. So those are the 2 requested changes for our advisory committee.
Very good.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve Resolution R 2024-3234, appointing a new member and reappointing a member of Carmen Clark to the Washington County Habitat Conservation Advisory Committee.
I'll second that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Motion and a second for those 2 names. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Thank you, Cameron. Our next item is consideration of resolution number R 2024-3235, a resolution approving an interlocal agreement to change the use of TRT funding previously awarded and allocated to the town of Springdale for the design of a town plaza.
Hi, Commissioners. So this is been put through our Tourism Advisory Board and then advised to make this switch. Money that was awarded to the town of Springdale in the past for a history center, and for various reasons that didn't end up working out. That money was already paid to Springdale, and they've acquired some property along the main street and want to turn it into kind of a plaza gathering for residents, for visitors. And so the Tourism Advisory Board approved the plans, the idea for that money could just be transferred from one project to the other project.
Yeah.
I've seen the plans for the new one. I don't know if anyone else has.
It's been a project, it's been a few years in the making, right? As we,
Yes.
And then there was a nonprofit involved as well. Is that nonprofit still viable and involved? The historical
Not to my
group?
knowledge. This is
Okay.
a straight town project.
This is straight with the town? Okay, very good.
When I went through the old house that they'd kind of half stripped down, I said, okay, restorers, good luck. You know, I think the only thing holding this up are the termites.
As they held each other's.
Yeah.
Various problems came up as they delved deeper into the History Center project.
Yeah.
Well, I do think it'll provide a nice asset to the town and to the visitors there on SR9. So, Mr. Chairman, with that, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt Resolution R-2024-3235, a resolution approving an interlocal agreement to change the use of TRT funding previously awarded and allocated to the town of Springdale for the design of a town plaza.
Commissioners, I apologize for interrupting. Town of Springdale hasn't had a chance to look at this agreement. Could you make that subject to legal review? And if there are any changes they
I'd
want
like
to
to
make?
amend my motion to make it subject to legal review.
Thank you.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, one clarification as you review, because it does say in here, it's not just for the design, but to be used for the construction, maintenance, and operation of a visitor and history center as well. They have matching funds, or some funds, to go along with it, but I think it's
It's for
more
the
than just the
construction of the
design.
plaza. Not a visitor and history center anymore, but it is to design and construct the plaza.
The plaza and construct. Okay,
Yep.
clarification noted. Thank you.
Okay, we will make sure that's done.
Motion and a second on the table, so all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Item 7, consideration of resolution number R 2024-3236, a resolution renewing an independent contractor agreement between Washington County and Pop Rock Design for consulting and graphic design services. Sarah.
Greetings, Commissioners. As you heard, it is a renewal of a contract with Pop Rocks Design. Crystal Tibbs is at the head of that and is our main contact there. They indeed consult with us and do all of our essentially in-house graphic design services, everything from ads to special projects like coloring books, and they just redid our golf guide. They're working on our annual report, et cetera, et cetera. So great services, knowing our brand guidelines. They've been with us for a year and previously under a different company name in a similar capacity. So we'd like to continue that contract.
All right. Motion?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve Resolution R 2024-3236, a resolution renewing an independent contractor agreement between Washington County and Pop Rock Design for consulting and graphic design services.
I'll second that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Good time at the meeting to point out that as Ray read into the purchase request, several items that all involve TRT funding for media, for advertising, etc., all from funds derived from visitors into the TRT funding. So, thank you. Item number 8, consideration of resolution number R 2024-3237, a resolution reappointing 2 board members to the Washington County Tourism Tax Advisory Board. Our esteemed
Hello. We are
Hello.
thrilled that 2 of our Tourism Tax Advisory Board members have decided to stay another term with us. So Kevin Smith with Tuacahn and Ivan City Council, and Dorothy Hears with Cliffside Restaurant and the Inn on the Cliff have signed on for another term. We just feel like with everything that we have going on, having that continuity in our board is really critical for the next few years.
Okay.
Very good. Well, Mr. Chairman, I have a chance to interact with these 2 individuals. They do a great job on the TAB board. They really do. So I'd like to make a motion that we adopt Resolution R-2024-3237, a resolution reappointing Dorothy Ayers and Kevin Smith to the Tourism Tax Advisory Board.
I second the motion.
Motion and a second for those 2 individuals. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Item 9, consideration of resolution number R 2024-3238, a resolution approving a project management agreement between Washington County and Trail House for the completion of phases 1 and 2 and the design of phase 3 of the Spring Hollow Trail system. Leslie.
Yes, so we've been working with Trail House for the last year to complete and kind of finalize phase 1 and then do all the design for our phase 2 trails. That was 15 additional miles of trail. And now we're ready and have a request for proposals out on the street now for bids to construct those trails. And we'd like to keep Trail House on to be the project manager for the construction of those trails, and then do the preliminary design for additional miles for phase 3, which will help us later to seek funding for that phase.
Can you tell us a little bit about Trail House, your time spent with them, and
Well, Trail House is primarily run by Shane Wilson, who has a lot of experience around the world designing mountain bike trails. Near to home, he designed the newer trail system up in Cedar City. He's been designing around the world. He was with the International Mountain Biking Association, did a lot of work with them. And then he's done consulting for mountain bike trails for many years now. He's been really great to work with, very detail-oriented. He knows the trails really well, and adapting them to our particular soil desert area
great.
has been very helpful.
And if you remember, Mr. Chairman, the Forest Service was actually handling this about a year or so ago. And the previous contractor, there was some situations, some issues. And so Leslie and the county have been, it's my understanding, handling it since then.
We've been handling the
together,
administration, yeah.
or kind of administering it. And so done a great job of kind of getting it back on track. And I think part of it was hiring this consultant, right, to kind of come in and
the Forest Service is actually who found Trail House, and then we kind of vetted him, and we've all been happy with his work. And the Forest Service has gone through a change of leadership during this time too. So they have a new ranger. He is very happy with the work and is on board with this. The Forest Service has been a great partner in getting this next phase 1 closed out and this next phase going, and we're really excited for it. So.
Well, we are appreciating the cooperation between the entities, which is rare. So thank you so much. All right, can we have a motion on item 9?
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve Resolution R 2024-3238, a resolution approving a project management agreement between Washington County and Trail House for the completion of phases 1 and 2 and the design of phase 3 of the Spring Hollow Trail system.
And I'll second that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Unanimous. Item number 10, consideration of resolution number R 2024-3239, a resolution approving a cooperative agreement with UDOT for a transit and mobility study of SR 9.
Thank you, Commissioners. This is a short agreement for UDOT to help contribute to the cost of a study. As you know, with the rise in popularity of Zion National Park, that's created its own challenges with some of the congestion and movement on SR9. And the county intends to get a study from Nelson and Nygaard. This piece today is just a contribution agreement from UDOT. They've committed to provide up to $100,000 for the cost of that study. So it's a very simple agreement. This just provides for a $100,000 contribution from UDOT. We recommend approval.
Well, I appreciate that. Most people don't realize you have to have some research before you can just go out and build something. You have to do the homework, so this will
Only if you
help.
want to do it right.
Only if you want to do it right and legal.
And I just want to, I know nobody from UDOT's here, but I think it needs to be said that UDOT is a great partner on this. You know, it's a heavy lift to do this study, and they were willing to look around and find a little bit of resource in order to help us. And I think King County as well is contributing on this, so it's important.
I'll acknowledge Heath, who has spent probably, 200,000-300,000 hours on this now, trying to figure this out, so
Yeah. So very
appreciate
good.
the whole team.
Good recognition.
Well, with that, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt resolution R-2024-3239, a resolution approving a cooperative agreement with UDOT for a transit and mobility study for SR9.
Second the motion.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Item 11, consideration of resolution number R 2024-3240, a resolution approving a proposal from Landmark Testing and Engineering for construction materials testing and special inspections for the Purgatory Medical Expansion Unit. Nicole?
Sorry. With each one of our projects, we take on the geotechnical side of the work, and that way there isn't a conflict of interest of maybe the contractor trying to save money or doing, any kind of work that wouldn't be above board, which I don't think that they would, but this really just allows us to contract with the geotechnical side, which we've actually in front of you we're hoping that you'll approve Landmark to do that. And that way then, as the contractor goes through the project, they call each and every time they're needing something tested, knowing that they don't have to pay for it. The county's responsible for
No
that portion.
conflict.
That's correct.
Yeah,
Mhm.
independent.
So we're seeking approval of that contract today.
Well, and the Landmark people should be working at a jail because they're people of conviction.
Well, that's true.
True. Valid point.
All right. Motion?
Well, I'm afraid that Commissioner Snow might not have make the motion after
Nope,
that.
not after that.
I'll have
So
to-
I'll go ahead and make the motion. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt resolution R-2024-3240, a resolution approving a proposal from Landmark Testing and Engineering for construction material testing and special inspection for the Purgatory Medical Expansion Project.
Do you want me to second
Yeah,
that?
because I'm not going to.
Okay,
Not after that
second.
joke of mine.
All right, motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Item 12, consideration of resolution number R 2024-3241, a resolution reauthorizing certain powers of fire districts on the west side of the county. Devin.
Commissioners, back in 2021, as the county was looking at consolidating various fire districts up on the SR 18 corridor, there were a couple of actions that those affected districts could have taken to kind of complicate that process. And so for that reason, the commission put in place some temporary restrictions on those districts, making it so they couldn't take on new debt, dispose of material assets and that kind of thing. As that process has played out and it's been studied, those interim boards have struggled to come up with a consensus on, what the allowable level of service might be, what a budget might look like, what an allowable fee might look like for those districts. And so, because of that, the county, I think, is going to put that process on hold at this time. But in the meantime, this resolution would remove those temporary restrictions. So the districts continue, if those boards feel they need to take on a loan or something like that to continue to provide fire service, that's up to those boards to do that. They're not prevented by the county from taking those kinds of actions.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve Resolution R 2024-3241, a resolution reauthorizing certain powers of fire districts on the west side of the county.
I'll second that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Item 13, consideration of resolution number R 2024-3242, a resolution appointing board members to the Administrative Control Board of the Solid Waste Special Service District Number 1.
Mr. Chairman, I can speak to this. This is the Board of Solid Waste that provides waste collection and disposal throughout Washington County. There's two members two vacancies on the board, and so the City of St. George, who has a seat, has nominated Steve Kemp to serve on the administrative board, and as well as Aaron Olson, who is a seat at large. And so this resolution just formalizes that and makes Steve Kemp and appoints Steve Kemp and Aaron Olson to that control board.
Okay.
I'll second that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Motion and a second for those two members of the Solid Waste Special Service District Number 1 board. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Thank you. Item 14, consideration of resolution number R 2024-3243, a resolution appointing board members to the Hurricane Valley Fire Special Service District Administrative Control Board.
Very good. Just as it's kind of that time of year that we need to reappoint people. This is, let's see, make sure I'm speaking to the right one.
14.
I'm the fire district, right? So, anyway, so the fire district is made up mostly of individuals who are on the city councils and the town councils. And so the names we have before us is Paul Liu, Bill Hoster, and Clark Fawcett. And those are from Virgin, Leeds, and Hurricane, respectively. And we've received resolutions, I was just looking at them, from those different communities. And so, Mr. Chairman, with your permission, I'd like to make a motion that we put those names forward and appoint them to serve on the fire board, the Hurricane Valley Fire Board, and adopt resolution R-2024-3243.
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second. Those who vote in favor of those three names on this board, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Item number 15, consideration of resolution number R 2024-3244, a resolution appointing a board member to the Angel Springs Special Service District.
Similar to as Commissioner Iverson just said, this is appointing members to the Angel Springs Special Service District Board, and the three names that have been actually currently serving and are therefore up for reappointment are Gene, and I don't know how to pronounce that last name, Wochtyla, Radendeep Hundal, and Kenton Arbon to the Angel Springs Special Service District. So I move that we approve the resolution which formalizes that, which is R 2024-3244, appointing those members to the Angel Springs Special Service District.
And I'll second that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Aye. All right, 16, I didn't mean aye that I oppose. What I meant is it's unanimous. Consideration of resolution number R 2024.
I thought you were just trying to be a pirate. Aye.
Aye, all in favor. 3245, a resolution appointing and reappointing board members to the Pine Valley Local District.
Well, once again, I'll speak to this. So the Pine Valley Local District, Pine Valley is not incorporated, but they have a local district that kind of speaks to several issues, helps coordinate with the county, and we've had the great service of Frank Davey, Alan Cannon, and Mike Stuckey working on that board. And we'd like to make a recommendation, or the motion before us today is to reappoint Frank Davey, and then also appoint Emily Nelson and James Nelson to serve on that board. And so, Mr. Chairman, with your permission, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt Resolution R-2024-3245, appointing these three individuals to that board.
And I'll second that. I was just looking at those two names actually are different. I think they're pronounced maybe the same, but it's Nielsen and Nelson.
Yeah, the I is reversed.
For the public who are not reading the names.
For the public that are not the
And
dyslexic.
the EN
like
and versus ON, so
Yeah.
they are different.
That has been.
But I second that motion.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All righty, these meetings are rebroadcast daily on TDS cable channels 22 and 108 at 10, 2, and 5:30 p.m. 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. They are also available on demand at youtube.com/community education channel. This information was provided to the Spectrum on Friday, January 12th, 2024, meeting state law. And that is the end of our meeting. Thank you for attending.